Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jonah. I'm with Discover, and today we are going to be having a wonderful presentation from Lisa He. I've worked with her once before, and it was an absolute delight. Super excited to have her here again. Lisa, would you give a little wave and hello so we can all make sure that the audio and video is rolling?
What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream.
Hey, and everyone, please hop in the comments. Let us know if you can see us all right, if you can hear us all right. We want to make sure that everything is grooving before we get started. Also, feel free at any point to call out where you're tuning in from, something you're excited to learn, maybe how you heard about Lisa or Discover. Also, feel free to ask any questions throughout the event. We will do our absolute best to get to all those questions, if not during the presentation, then shortly after. And if you're watching the replay as well, feel free to browse those questions. A lot of the time, there's some really valuable conversations that happen in the comments, even if we don't get the chance to address them. Looks like everything's grooving here. So just set a couple additional expectations. If Lisa is moving fast or there's anything you want to get a repeat of, there will be a replay available. It'll be emailed to you. It'll also be on the YouTube page and the Discover event page. So don't fret if you have to get up for a second. None of this is going to be lost. It's all here in the internet into Continuum. And yeah, let me give a proper introduction here so I can hand it over. Like I said, we are talking to Lisa He, and today's event is how to decorate a Halloween cake, which is very timely with Halloween coming up. A couple things we're going to learn. Lisa is going to show us how to add festive stripes to cakes in the easiest way possible. A few simple tricks we can use to take our cake decorating to the next level without spending a ton of extra time. Little background on Lisa. While pursuing her engineering degree and then a career in biotech, Lisa fostered her love for cookie decorating and education. Her social media grew steadily and organically over time as she shared her journey and encouraged others to do the same. Eventually, her work was noticed, and she had the opportunity to be featured on Netflix, the Food Network, and in many other publications. In November of 2019, Lisa left her biotech career to serve the Borderlands Bakery community. And today, Borderlands Bakery offers baking-related products in the shop, a blog full of helpful posts, YouTube with long-form content, and digital courses. Lisa,
Like this one.
like this one we're going to be talking about today. I want to get out of the way so we can start decorating cakes. So I am going to hand it over to you.
Sweet. What's up, you guys? Thanks for being here today and giving us part of your day. It is the middle of the day, Tuesday in California. So if you're here, thank you. My friend Malik and I recently released a cake course where we walk you through 3 seasonal cakes. And today I'm going to demo a small part of that because it's going to be Halloween and might as well. So what I've already done is I've prepped my cake layers and I've crumb coated it. What that does is it seals in all those little crumbs from the different cake layers, and I put the filling in there, everything, and now it's ready for the decoration part. If you guys are totally new to I do cookies a lot, so I'm always talking about cookies. First word that comes out of my mouth is cookies, but today we're doing cakes. If you're new to cake decorating, we got this whole free YouTube mini series that you should check out, where we give you a base recipe for my favorite birthday cake and a buttercream recipe that's fantastic for all kinds of environments, including very humid environments. And then it goes through the basic decorating process, including that crumb coat that I just referenced. That crumb coated cake is sitting in my fridge, so I'm going to grab it real quick, and then we're getting on to the decorating part. Getting it out of the fridge. So this guy is a yellow cake with vanilla frosting as well as strawberry jam in it. It's a 6-inch cake. These are like kind of my specialty when it comes to size. I don't know if anyone decorates cakes here, but they can get really big with a lot of layers. And for me, this is really kind of a sweet spot size as far as cake goes. Here, I have crumb coated it with the first layer of frosting. I'm just going to go in and clean it up a little bit. but everything's really cooled down. If you're touching this slightly, nothing should be coming off on your finger. That's how you know it's ready for that decorative layer. So what I've also got here, I've got some orange buttercream because we're doing orange stripes today, and I've got more buttercream in here. The first thing you want to do is set down your first color on the cake, scrape it. We're going to put the stripe pattern in it, and then we're going to clean it up, and then I'm going to add a drip today for just a very simple way to level up your cakes. One of my favorite tools here, this is a cake scraper. I know it is completely transparent, but let's do this so that the light, you kind of see that. It's got these striped grooves here, and then it's got a straight edge here. We're going to put on a layer of our decorative buttercream, and then we're going to swipe through it with the grooved side. We're going to put the orange inside the little grooves, and then we're going to switch over to the straight edge and clean it up. So watch how this goes. This takes a bunch of practice. Yes,
Lisa,
Jonah.
can I pop in here? I'm totally going to take advantage of your
Yeah.
expertise here.
Please.
Back when I was baking, one of the most tragic and common problems I had was stacking cakes. I know that's not what we're doing today, but I wanted to see if you had even just like 2 or 3 tips. I don't like the idea of like shoving like barbecue sticks or anything in the cake, you know. So do you have just a couple tips on like
Okay.
how to what you can do to make that better?
Yeah. So here's the thing. We all have our tricks when it comes to stacking heavy cakes. I've got a 6-incher here. It's pretty small and pretty light. It can sit on itself. It's got 3 layers. But if you're doing anything very big or heavy, those supports are necessary. So maybe you won't be using like anything strange, but you know those boba straws, those really thick boba straws, they are often used as a support for your cake. And there's kind of no getting around that, Jonah. You're going to have to just shove some sticks in your cake.
Yes, but already like boba straws feels more classy for
It is
some
a
reason
little,
to me than
it's a little classier. Some people actually put cake boards between each layer
Okay.
on
Okay.
top of their like boba straws or whatever, because that also helps, gives it structural integrity.
Okay. Love it. Thank
Yeah,
you so much for answering that.
you're very welcome. And right here you see me, people are going to freak out when they see the amount of buttercream that goes on a cake, but guys, it is what it is. It's a cake. It's not going to be super healthy or anything. But you want to get a decently thick layer on here because we're going to be scraping away a certain amount before we add on a little bit more and finish our decoration. So it needs a layer of buttercream in order for the pattern to be built into the cake. So right now I'm just adding that layer of pretty thick buttercream. I'm going to take a little bit off the top by swirling it and kind of pushing it around the sides, and you can kind of see it fall down the edges. That's what we want here. We don't need all that buttercream on top, but we need it on the edges. And I'm using an offset spatula here, very crucial for cake decorating, and just filling in the gaps and adding on volume to the cake so that when we scrape away, we don't have we still have plenty of room to add on that next stripe. And when it comes to cake decorating and cookie decorating, patience is really king. You want to give yourself enough time to look through all the angles, get it all clean as much as you can. And if you make a mistake, no big deal. In our cake course, Malik is my friend. He's actually known for cakes. That's what he started his career off of. But in our course, we actually mess up quite a bit. And that's just a part of the process. I think people are afraid to mess up, but it's part of the process. And then we'll teach you how to fix it. So no biggie. I'm still adding. When people are like, why are cakes so expensive? This is why. Time, expertise. All right, I'm almost done here. Just want to make sure it's got plenty. Looks good. I'm going to scrape. I'm going to be using this side. I'm going to move this so I have plenty of room to move. When you're scraping a cake, whether you're creating stripes or you just want like a smooth surface, you want to move your turntable in one swift motion. So you don't want to like go like this, right? You want to move it in one swift motion. And that's what we're going to do as many times as is necessary. And we might have to go back and patch up certain things, but it's not a big deal. So let's do this. I want some buttercream close to me, but like not in my way. Let's do that. Okay, stripe side, let's go. And we have recommendations for turntables as well. This one is a really heavy frictionless one, and I absolutely love it. So you guys can kind of see it's creating grooves in that layer of buttercream, which is exactly what we want. Okay, you guys see that? So now we have to go back and clean things up because it's not perfect. And you can kind of see where you're lacking more buttercream. And this is a part that takes practice. You can go over like the whole thing and just start over. I just want to show you that it's very easy to patch things up and start over, right? Very, very easy to do that. And if you want to start with a very like smooth surface, I'll also show you how to do that in one moment after I repatch. So it's with cake decorating, and especially with buttercream decorating, it's pretty forgiving as far as starting over and things like that, as long as you haven't moved to like the coloring portion of it, right? Because if you've got color everywhere and you're doing a bunch of different colors, I'm going to be on the struggle bus if we blend our colors together and we don't intend to do that. Right now, I'm just cleaning off my scraper with some paper towels. This really helps. It's actually easier to just wipe them with totally dry paper towels. It gets most of the buttercream off enough so that I can work with it. I'm going to go in with my straight edge and just clean it up a little bit before I go in for that next layer. So at least we have a nicer surface to work with, and you can kind of see the difference between this and if we didn't do this. So I just want to show you that difference. And notice how it takes many scrapings in order to get to kind of where you want it to be. And that's okay, you guys. Cake decorating and cookie decorating, all that stuff takes time. You can see me move the turntable in one swift motion. But every time we go around, we understand our edges a little bit more, and we kind of know where to patch or not patch. So for the sake of this demo, I think we're good right here, or else I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to decorating. So if we don't stop at a certain point and say, okay, I got my point across, we're going to be here all day. And I know we all got stuff to do. So now I'm going in with my groovy side. I'm just going to press it in about halfway down the grooves. Scrape in one continuous motion. And now you can see the stripes quite well. We're going to get rid of this. And then we're going to put the orange into those grooves. So where the indents are, let's see, I just want to make sure that I get them right. We're going to put a layer on the bottom and then every other. And we're in a demo, so things are probably not going to look as perfect as they can be if you really, really took your time, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect for you guys to see what's possible. I'm just gonna go in and fill in. Okay. So every other stripe, we're filling in the groove. Just make sure you actually fill it in all the way, or else when you scrape away for that final layer, you're gonna not have any orange or not have any white. Just add a little bit more on that top. All right, so we've got this guy. We need another tool real quick. No questions so far. I'm just cleaning up some of the buttercream. Here's where the magic happens. If I could clean this off real quick, one moment. Of course, you could wash this, but demo. We're going to use the straight edge this time. One swift motion. All right. This is where the magic happens. And this is where we're going to need a lot of practice to get it to what we want it to look like. Okay, so the stripes are coming a little bit better. All right, make sure we've got all this orange over here. We don't want it getting all over the white. Make sure you get that off, okay? See that stripes coming in. We're going to keep scraping. Make sure you clean off your edge every time. Let's keep going. Be patient, go slow. All right, that's pretty good for now. You guys get the idea.
So, Lisa, are you holding your scraper absolutely perpendicular, or you have a little bit of an angle going? How are you getting it so smooth?
It's as perpendicular as possible. So this is
Okay.
a part that's super difficult. It requires a lot of practice. And even like when I'm under pressure and I'm doing a demo, I get in my own head and I'm like starting to shake, and you can see my thing starting to like teeter, right? But it does require quite a steady hand. So let me just try to hold it there so you guys can see what that's like. I like hold my breath. I don't know about other cake decorators, but I hold my breath. But basically that's the idea. And if you have any areas, for example, that have too much orange or too much white, what you can do is you can put your white in a piping bag. Let me grab one right now. I am making a mess. And we can go in and patch up those parts. And this is one of the things that we talked about in the course too is, you know, you're going to get mistakes. That's completely inevitable. But most of them are totally fixable. And it's a matter of understanding the techniques and then learning how to patch up your cakes. Because buttercream cakes can be a little bit tricky. They're also, you know, sensitive to the weather. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding some white back into the areas that have some orange leaching back onto it. And you'll notice a cheat. I like to put my elbow here so that I have a totally kind of, I'm in the same spot without having to eyeball it. And all I have to do is turn the turntable and not worry about too much else. So that's how we patch it up. Now that we've patched it up, we go in with our straight edge once again and scrape some more. I'll keep it there. I'll try to keep it there so you can see. All right, It's a little bit cleaner. It's still not perfect, but it's better than it was before, which is what we want. Let me clean this off, and I will do one final scraping.
Well, and you could, if you were being an absolute perfectionist, you could kind of go back and forth with the orange and the white, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Like if I was a cottage baker and I was making this for a client, I would 100% be making sure that the stripes are perfect. And you just go back and forth until you're happy with it. And for now, I'm happy with it. You can see some imperfections, but for the sake of our demo here, I think it's good enough. I'm gonna move on. Let's see. Okay, just a little. I'm gonna patch it up just like a tiny bit. Getting my mini offset spatula. Ta-da! This is a super mini. And you can patch things up just a little bit using that. Now it looks a little better. We have some areas that are still lacking in orange. If you guys put this in the fridge and let it crust over a little bit, this part will also be a little bit easier as well. But we are like working at super speed today. So I'm going to leave this and not mess with it anymore. I'm going to clean up the edges by just using an offset spatula and smoothing it out, turning the turntable. Get yourself a nice heavy duty aluminum turntable. It's not worth it to get those plastic ones, I swear. It's worth the money. And then the last thing I'm going to do, well, last two things I'm going to do, I want to keep this a reasonable length for you guys, is I'm going to mold some little skull accents. Really, really, really fun. And I'm going to make them sparkly skulls, and I'm going to make them out of modeling chocolate. So I'm going to set this guy into the fridge for a while and let those stripes set a little bit more. Clean up some of that buttercream around the cake board, and we'll mold some of our decorations. This is just one of the many, many techniques that we teach in this class, but I'm going to show you this because it's easy.
Real quick, you mentioned, and I've had this disaster before, if you have too hot of a room or it's really humid, you can get like barely any time with the buttercream. Can you just keep throwing it in the fridge? Is that something you do often if you need to chill it out a little?
Totally. So I've actually got a lot of friends in Texas. It is hot and humid. When you have that kind of climate, you need a stabilized buttercream, which is what we offer in the course. And what that means is we use shortening to help strengthen that butter. And I know some people are like, ew, shortening. Trust me, you can't taste it. And it actually takes away, if you've ever had buttercream that's like underbeaten, it tastes like there's a film of fat on your tongue. And to get rid of that feeling or that sensation, the taste, you use shortening actually to help with that kind of texture. So, but shortening also stabilizes your buttercream.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So other interesting thing is my friend from Texas who I filmed this course with, he came to California to film this course with me. And he was like freaking out because our buttercream was crusting so fast that he couldn't even work with it. Like it was drying so quickly because of our dry climate in California, and he's used to, Texas humidity.
Right.
So all those little things come into play. And I think when people bake and decorate, climate is not at the forefront of your mind, but it really should be.
Right. Well, because you just look at a recipe online and try and adapt it, right? And you're not,
You're like, okay, so why is my cookie spreading? Why are my cakes not rising? Why is my buttercream running everywhere? All those things are likely because you need to make some climate adjustments.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Or elevation. That's another thing.
Right.
Oh my God, we could talk about this all day.
The sign, yeah, the background signs. Okay, here, I'll get out of the way. I want to see this modeling chocolate.
Okay, cool. So I'm using store-bought modeling chocolate today, but I actually have a recipe on YouTube for if you want to make your own modeling chocolate from scratch. It's super easy, but this is a great alternative for if you just don't want to or don't have time. I've got these silicone molds here. We offer these in our shop over at borderlandsbakery.com. They are very versatile. You can use them to mold regular chocolate, isomalt, modeling chocolate, fondant, gum paste, anything that's moldable, you can throw into these guys, and they're heat safe up to like 400 degrees, and very, very, very flexible. So usually when I mold things, I dust the mold with cornstarch to help it unmold. Today, I'm using this edible glitter. It's by a company called the Sugar Art. They're incredible. And if you use my code Borderlands, you can get 15% off over at thesugarart.com. This is a product called Diamond Dust, and it was the first FDA approved edible glitters on the market when it released a couple years ago. Now there's more. This is still the best, and they don't pay me to say that. I'm going to use a spray here. This is just dry spray that you put in a dry dust pump. We have these dust pumps too, but they also sell them in these dust pumps. And I'm just going to totally cover the mold. It's very glittery. I know it's hard to see on camera, but the glitter is everywhere. This is edible, so it's not as persistent as plastic glitter. Don't worry. My friend's got like a glitter aversion, so I'm always giving that disclaimer. Grab a little bit of your modeling chocolate and press it into your mold. And then you can get rid of like the excess using your finger to kind of squeegee it out. But you want to press and really get it in there, making sure to shove it into the crevices, kind of holding it up so we're at a weird angle, but just want to make sure it gets everywhere. And this is chocolate, okay? So because this is chocolate and your hands are warm, it will melt as you work with it. So my suggestion when working with modeling chocolate is always getting an ice pack out and laying the mold on the ice pack so that your modeling chocolate stays cold. And that also helps it pop out way easier. But for today, for demo purposes, we're just gonna do this. Oops. Look at this cute little skull. And it's sparkly. Oh my God, sorry, it's so hard to hold up because it's very soft, but it's sparkly. Okay. Okay, did you guys see that?
That is
all
so
right,
cool.
So, right, it's so cool. Okay, so I'm gonna set that aside for a second. I'm going to do that again. You get the idea, but in the course, we have one of our cakes where we surround the bottom perimeter with skulls. And it's really, really cute, actually. It's a black forest cake, perfect for Halloween. So it's got like red guts that you can cut into. Got another guy here. So I'll show you on here because it's much easier to see. How cool. And it's very glittery in real life. Gold tone and glittery. And you can slap those on your cakes. But today, we're going to be doing a drip. I am cheating today, and I'm using store-bought drip. And I want to make a point, and a lot of bakers are like, everything is better homemade. And that's true to some degree, but sometimes there are pre-made store-bought alternatives that work just fine. It saves you time. And a bottle of this is about like $5-6 at Michael's if you use a coupon, or you can get them on Amazon. The brand I'm using is called Roxy and Rich. Works well, but every single off-the-shelf cake drip that I've used works really well. These are so easy to use. All you do is you pop them in the microwave and warm them up for 30 seconds at a time. And they become almost like a ganache texture. Phyllis, oh yeah, I'm so excited. Phyllis, are you doing cake decorating or are you doing cookie decorating? I hope you're here for cakes and also cookies maybe. Yeah, you're so welcome. But those cake drips work great. And in our course, we actually share links to recipes where you can make your own cake drips. Essentially, cake drips are just ganache. So it's part chocolate, part liquid. Add a little bit more fat to it in addition to the chocolate. And this is what you get. So cake drip, let's see. So the other reason why I actually put the cake into the fridge is because as we put the warm drip on it, it's going to be runny, right? And we're going to depend on the coolness of that buttercream in the cake to prevent it from sliding all the way down the side of the cake. No big deal if it does, but a cool cake will kind of stop that drip, like halfway down, which is what we want. I'm going to just give this a little squeeze and mix it up. It's really, really hard to see this. And I don't want to accidentally pour it out. Whoop, okay. All right, Phyllis Martin, I love it. Yeah, we have tons of resources for both cake and cookies, definitely more cookie focused. If you have any questions at all, you can always send us an email, help@borderlandsbakery.com. We also have a great Facebook group, Borderlands Bakery. Another 30 seconds. And it's actually a group of people who have taken our courses and are all there to really help each other. And it's really cool because we can all nerd out about the things that we're struggling with, or we need help with the technique. And there are a lot of cottage bakers in there as well who we get insights from each other regarding how to run our cottage food business. We're struggling with pricing, things like that. Super helpful. I'm going to check on my cake while that is done. Okay, so here's the thing with live demos and cakes. Cakes require time in between layers to help cool down your buttercream. That buttercream is nowhere near as cold as I would like it to be for the drip, but we're going to do it anyway so that you can see what it would be like if your buttercream wasn't totally cold.
Lisa, typically, if we had all the time in the world, is there a certain amount of time, or what are you looking for in the buttercream before you know?
So, for sure, I like to put my cakes into the fridge for about 20 minutes at a time. Some people have blast chillers, lucky people, and you can do it for like 5 minutes. If my freezer wasn't totally full, I'd put it in the freezer. That works as well. About 10 minutes in the freezer, amazing. But general guidance, 20 minutes before you want to put your drip on it. And you want your cake to be so cold that when you touch the buttercream, kind of like when I showed you the crumb coat at the beginning of the demo, you touch it with your fingers and nothing comes off. That's what you're looking for as it comes to applying drips or anything warm. So I got a little too excited and I over microwaved this, but I came prepared with another drip. It's so warm that it's gonna melt my buttercream. Right? So we're gonna do purple. No big deal. We're gonna do purple and then we're gonna slap on our skulls on there and then it'll be good. Oh. There was a little bit of metal on the top of the steel. Be careful and get rid of that. And don't be like me and potentially set this place on fire in the middle of a demo. I would like to not be known for that.
I'm glad there's no fire, but that was really cool.
That
was just a cool science tip.
My microwave. Yeah, seriously.
Glad everything's okay.
Okay, so I have a quick side note because this is hilarious. And speaking of microwaves and setting things on fire, I used to work in tech and I worked for a blood management company. And we actually wrote software that did blood management. And we had to run tests on client side, but we had to make sure that none of our stuff had interference with the wireless, radio frequency, all that stuff. So we had to run a microwave and run our program, everything all at once. Everything was good until someone turned the microwave on and let it running with nothing in there, and it started sparking like crazy. Don't do that. Don't be like us. Yeah.
Oh no.
Grab my cake.
That's an expensive mistake.
Yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, nobody was hurt, no damage done, but it was too close for comfort.
Love that. Ooh, I'm excited for this.
Okay. I'm just checking the texture. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay. It still needs like 5 seconds, but I'm gonna stand right here so that I don't over microwave it like I did last time. I always feel like there's a lot of pressures during live demo purely because we're used to that Instagram and TikTok world where everything is sped up and time lapsed, and nobody has any idea of how long things actually take anymore. So bear with me as we do this in real time. I think this is about right, but we're going to find out. So all you have to do is drip like this. And I'm not going to add a lot of drip on here because my cake is so warm still. But you can see, like, the idea of it is so that the coolness of the buttercream will just stop the drip from dripping any further. But drips and stripes are pretty trendy right now, and that really helps dress up your cake without a ton of effort. So that's kind of our goal, right? Is to create impressive pieces that don't take all day. And if you take our course, we also have a fall cake and a winter cake, and techniques get progressively more challenging from cake to cake. So the stripes and the drips are a very simple technique in the world of cake decorating and in the scope of how crazy decorations can get now. And then as we move on to the fall cake, we get a little bit more technique. And as we move on to our final cake, which is our winter cake, we use stuff like ice malt, like Japanese crystal candy. We use chocolate to help really dress up the cake and take it to that ultra next level. Check out the drip. We managed to not have a disaster, and it's not dripping everywhere, but this cake is not cool enough, and it makes me really nervous. To finish off, a lot of people like to add like the layer of drip on top, or to add a little rope border. All of those things are super, super, super cute. And today I'm going to add a rope border. So the way we do that is we grab our piping bags and a piping tip. One of my favorite piping tips for cake, period, is the Wilton 1M. It's like a rosette, very popular for cupcakes. And I'm using one of our, like a large 16-inch piping bag. I get mine from Amazon. I'm throwing my piping tip in there. Being careful to not drag your piping tip down the side of the bag, or else you might accidentally scratch it, puncture it, making your bag weaker in that area. We put the piping bag in, we trim it off, we shove the tip through to make sure that the tip is not obstructed by the piping bag, and it's a little obstructed, so we're going to shove the tip back down. If my hands weren't so oily, this would be a lot easier. Hang on, I need some assist. Oh, okay, got it. I need to trim a little bit more of the bag off to expose the entire tip. And you want to push it up so it's tight in the front so that you don't have buttercream oozing out the sides. You're going to stick your hand in here, twist the front, take your other hand and grab the tip so that as you're loading your piping bag, nothing comes out. Now you get to see my mess. All right. We are going to just quickly throw in the rest of our orange buttercream down one side of the piping bag. It's going to be a little bit of a swirl ombre. I've got my hands all messy. One moment as I rinse off. I promise it's not this messy. If you took your time a little bit and just did everything in a not sped up manner. I'm going to throw the rest of our buttercream in here. I don't even know if we have enough buttercream for this, but we are going to try. I always tell people that we end up using way more buttercream than anticipated. So in our recipes that we give you, everything's kind of scaled so that you have enough buttercream to decorate one cake that's 6 inches based on our recipes that are included in the course. But if you feel like you might need a little bit extra, I always tell people to make extra. Okay. So we got this buttercream in here, and I'm just gonna smash it around so it's a little bit of more of a ombre, and then we're gonna just go ahead, twist the top. I'm gonna get a clip because my hands are a little oily from the butter. This just helps clips it in place. We actually sell these clips on our website, Borderlands Bakery. Check it out. I designed these clips especially for piping bags because I couldn't find like ones that were super secure that I liked, because the IKEA ones kind of suck for piping bags. No offense, IKEA, I love you, but not for piping bags. All right, now we are going to pipe little swirls. And as it comes out, the color will change as we finish using up the orange part of the icing. It'll change to more white. And we got this cute rope border on top. Do you guys like that? It's pretty cute.
I could watch that for days.
It's pretty
So
freaking
fun.
satisfying, right?
It looks so satisfying.
And it wasn't that hard, but it takes practice.
Yes.
That's the thing. Yeah.
You make it look incredibly easy, but I've messed that up so badly before.
Yeah, you got to put the time in, right?
Yeah.
So here,
that looks
final parts. I've got a sprinkle drawer here, and I'm just looking for some Halloween-y sprinkles. And by some miracle, I don't even have Halloween sprinkles, but we have these black and red ones, and they'll still look pretty good actually on top of the cake. Keeping it very simple. And then I'm going to throw the skulls on too. So if you want to make like black skulls, you could color your modeling chocolate or fondant or whatever it is. And you could like make black skulls, which would be so cool as well. Just finding some bits of sprinkles that seem like I want. And then I will move the camera as well so you can see. But I'm also going to place my skulls that I molded onto here. And this is our simple cake. If I am going to put my laptop up, you can kind of see that's our cake. Woo! Let me turn this and actually give you a slightly different angle. I would also like to not drop this cake because after this point with the buttercream and everything, it's quite heavy. Let me get the light here. Little skulls.
That looks so good.
Right? Simple. It's not perfect because we didn't spend, 2 hours on it. But if you did spend, per se, like an extra half an hour, you get something pretty cool. And if you're extra like me, I like to add edible glitter to everything where appropriate. You can kind of see the shimmer a little bit, but it's super cool. And you can see how the drips have dripped down more, right? Because our cake is not as cool as it usually would be if we were doing this for real. All right. So Phyllis, thank you so much for joining us and engaging. Really appreciate it. If you guys want an overview of the courses, I'll give you a quick overview right now just to show you what we have in store for you should you decide you want to take that intermediate course. Jonah?
Yes.
Yes. All right, are we ready?
Holler whenever you got that up. For everyone watching or watching the replay, I just want to make clear Lisa's course link is in the description of the YouTube video. It's also in the comments section. It's a comment pinned to the top, and it will be emailed to you along with the replay.
Perfect.
But yeah, let's hop in. Here we go.
Cool. All right. So can you guys see everything good?
Yeah, we can see it great.
Perfect. So this is our intermediate cake decorating course. I mentioned to you guys that we have like a free mini series on YouTube to help you build that cake foundation. But if you feel like you're ready for that next level, this is it. And it's taught by myself as well as cake expert Malik Binns. He's a great friend of mine and he's got a cookbook out and he started his journey in cakes. So I tell you a little bit about both of us. Basically, we're dessert artists. We have legit social medias and we've been teaching for quite a bit. And this is really what we absolutely love to do and want to spend our lives doing. Malik actually went to school for culinary arts and specialized in pastry. And I'm self-taught and just figuring it out as I go. I've also done Food Network and Netflix, and that's all been a lot of fun. I mentioned to you guys that doing cakes is not really just about learning the techniques, but also how to fix things when things don't go as planned. That happens way more than you think it would. Very few people are like, one and done, my cake is perfect. We also want you to have beautiful cakes, but also have them taste amazing. So we share with you 3 recipes that are just um, absolutely delicious for all kinds of palates. And we teach you, we talk a little bit about how to change those things up to suit your taste. And because Malik and I have very different backgrounds, we have very different insights and perspectives when it comes to decorating and baking. I also talked to you about how like there are things that are okay to be store-bought, like the drip, and I showed you using store-bought drip today in our demo cake. We also designed these courses from easy to hard. So our Halloween cake's the easiest, most basic when it comes to techniques and how difficult they are. And then our winter cake is really, really quite complicated when it comes to decorating techniques. And this is a summary of all those things, but it gives you a preview of the various cakes that you'll be making. So I show you how to make like a striped Halloween cake. We get more in depth with it, and we share with you our Black Forest recipe. Fantastic. For Thanksgiving, we've got a watercolor style cake, and we also have chocolate accents as well as Rice Krispie treat toppers. So those pumpkins are made from Rice Krispie treats and truffles, and it's got a gilded gold edge and edible gold foil. Super pretty. And it's actually a sweet potato cake with toasted marshmallow buttercream. So good. And the last cake that we'll be teaching as a part of this course is actually a winter cake with all kinds of different decorative elements. We talked about the Japanese candy that's a part of it, isomalt, chocolate, fondant, but also it's a mirror glaze cake. So what you see Malik holding, it's something that we poured over the cake and it's very shiny and looks like a mirror, very popular right now. This side just gives you a summary of all the things that you're going to get. This is a cross section of the cake guts. The only kind of guts that I want to see are cake guts. And this is a white chocolate raspberry cake, and it is my favorite, hands down. So you'll get all the recipes. We have full video instruction, professionally recorded videos. You can go at your own pace as much as you'd like. Stop, pause, rewind, go back, all of that, no problem. You also get access to our Facebook page where we have a group of like-minded bakers that will help you out in case you hit any snags or you need ideas, or even if you just need encouragement. We actually do already have updates to the course in progress. We want to add in a Valentine's design for you guys so that next year you have all the major holidays covered, as well as additional techniques. And you will have lifetime access to all of this as long as we're in business. And you guys get all of this for $80 during launch week, which is right now, and it ends on Sunday, October 10th? I think that's Sunday. And after that, the course jumps up to 100. So that's it. If you guys have any questions, or Jonah, if you have any questions, I'm here.
Yeah. So it sounds like this class is a little more like holiday oriented. Although I love it,
It's seasonal, yeah.
the watercolor thing is so cool. I love
It's
that.
pretty
As
cool.
a yeah.
Yeah.
Where can people find your other courses or your other resources? Is it just the
For sure.
borderlandsbakery.com?
Well, we are kind of all over the internet at this point. So, borderlandsbakery.com is kind of our home hub. It's where you can find all the information, our course information. Like, we have local pop ups if you're in the Sacramento area, we got that going on. And then we have courses listed on there from Teachable. So, we have a whole education hub hosted by Teachable. They're all pre-recorded classes, go at your own pace, same deal. We've got French macarons, so we got a bunch of cookie decorating courses, including one that takes you from the inception of wanting to decorate a cookie and the idea all the way to final packaging, that entire process. So that's how you can find us via our website, but also in Teachable. We have our main page. I think bakingwithborderlands.com is where we actually host like all the courses. That's our main course page.
Love it. Love it. And I mean, your work needs no credit beyond itself, but I will say I have had your cookies, and I've working as a pastry chef in a past life, I've eaten a lot of very good looking pastries that were absolutely disgusting. And your cookies were some of the best cookies I've had, hands down, and they were so gorgeous. So I
Yeah.
appreciate so much when
Um,
it can be such a frilly, like, kind of, I was gonna say sport because I remember it being so hardcore,
it is
but
hardcore.
it is hardcore, right? It can be so frilly, and I just appreciate that you care about the taste too, because
Big deal.
it can get
Yeah.
lost in that.
The
So I just
decorative aspect. And
yeah.
also, like, decorated stuff has a bad rap. I feel like people are like, oh man, it's so pretty. It can't be good. Right.
Well, because
But
I
it should
think it all
be.
yeah. But I think there's a lot of that where it's like it's one or the other, or like a lot of fondant stuff gets into that
Yeah.
realm of like, is it
Yeah.
gonna taste good if it looks like a giant shark? Who knows? You know, so but it
With
can.
our stuff, it
It
tastes
can,
good.
right?
Because
Yeah,
what's the point if it tastes
if you
crappy,
can't
right?
eat it.
For me.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I appreciate that so much. And once again, for everyone viewing, thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching the replay, what's the best way to reach out to you, Lisa, if anyone has any questions? Is it the email or Instagram?
Email is great, help@borderlandsbakery.com. Instagram is like a little hit or miss because the DMs get a little crazy.
Sure.
But definitely email us. That is the best way to get a hold of us.
Amazing. And I'd like to always ask a question like this for before we wrap up today. For anyone like Phyllis getting started on their cake baking, cake decorating, cookie making journey, do you have just like a last little parting bit of advice?
Oh, oh God, this is hard because there's so much to say.
Sure.
But if I only have one thing to say, I always stress patience and enjoying the process. Patience is really just allowing yourself to be bad at something before you get good at something, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we are not born out of the womb like, boom, I'm a perfect cake decorator.
Right.
So please be patient with yourself and follow your own journey. There are people at all areas of that journey. Some people have already made it. They're like, I've done everything under the sun. But we're all
Honestly,
different.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's
we're all
good
different.
advice for life in general.
Yeah, that comparison game's gonna kill us. That's gonna make
Right.
us feel so bad about ourselves no matter what. So
Right.
yeah, and we're here to encourage you. That's really important. The community is here to encourage you, and I think finding a group of people who will say yes and encourage you to say go is really, really important.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your expertise with us. And I could watch cake decorating for hours on end. So thank you so much. And for everyone watching, if you like this video, please like and subscribe to the Discover
Yep.
YouTube. We are consistently trying to bring creators like Lisa out here to show off their killer skills and grow this amazing community of students and creators. Lisa, thank you once again. And for everyone watching the replay or the live event, we appreciate you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you guys so much. Take care.
See you, Lisa.